Hi, welcome back.
Hello.
All right. Mark and Anna here. We're going through one of our favorite books, The 7-Day Love Prescription by John and Julie Gottmans. It's a great book. If you're just now joining us, we've been doing this for approximately, today's number 6. So we have 6 videos in total, 5 prior to this. So jump back in and go through the videos and the book with us. We'd love to have you check it out. It's a really good book, both for us in our personal lives, in our relationship, and in the work that we do. So check it out. And today is day 6, which is all about reach out and touch, the power of touch in relationships.
And this one is particularly rich. All of them are good, but this one is a really, really important one for couples to thrive because it pulls in that, the mind-body connection. And in relationships, physical touch is so important. And there's so much research about, the good chemicals in your brain that get released and the way that that's even more powerfully connecting for you and your partner. And so I want to kick off. There are going to be 3 times in this video where I'm actually going to just straight up read from the book because it is so good that I don't want to mess it up. And so at the very beginning of this chapter of day 6, reach out and touch, they reference a study that identified specific habits practiced by those in happy, thriving relationships where both partners were satisfied sexually. So here they are, 13. Buckle up. Number 1, they say I love you every day and mean it. 2, they kiss passionately for no reason at all. 3, they give each other compliments and surprise romantic gifts. 4, they know what turns their partner on and off erotically. 5, they are physically affectionate even in public. 6, they keep playing and having fun together. That's a big value we share. 7, they cuddle often. 8, they make sex a priority, not the last item of a long to-do list. 9, they stay good friends. 10, they can talk comfortably about their sex life. 11, they have weekly romantic dates. 12, they take romantic vacations. 13, they are mindful about turning toward.
Okay, cool. Well, certainly, yes, that's about curating healthy sex life. And the reason I like that list, before that list, they say in their research, they thought that great sex life would be determined by some kind of like really just super dynamic bedroom fireworks. And what they found, it was just those consistent, aspects of connection that then led to a fulfilling and happy sex life. And so it's kind of like the both and. Build the relationship, enjoy the benefits in the bedroom. And touch, of course, is sexual and non-sexual. So certainly touch can lead to sex, and sexual intimacy is a part of healthy relationship. But just touch as a form of being together and being identified as a couple is important even when it's not overtly sexual.
Yes, and that's obviously, something to be teased out about, and we'll talk about that in a minute around like having the conversation around affectionate touch versus erotic touch, because I know that's kind of a hot button issue for a lot of couples. But just really quickly to kind of reference the, chemistry, physical chemistry around touch, like touch is such a powerful drug, and all the studies show that it's, it releases oxytocin. So people who don't have touch, those folks are related, have higher levels of anxiety, depression. It's harder for their body to shift into rest and repair. Whereas if you are really, in a good relationship and a good groove of physical touch on a regular basis, affectionate touch, then your oxytocin levels are just so much higher than someone who's not getting touch at all. And so they just, nicely bring the science in about what a powerful drug it is and how they kind of lay out, like if you hug for 20 seconds, if you kiss for 6 seconds, like they can even kind of measure it to a second to show a spike in oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine.
Yeah, I love that. And so, there's conversation about love language. What's your personal love language? Like what helps you feel loved? Some people are affirmations or receiving gifts or acts of service or spending time together. And some people are touch. And the point, one of the things that they say is love languages are wonderful, but touch uniquely has that human need that we all have. And that's because it dives into the biochemical stuff that Anna's talking about. So be open to exploring this. With that being said, we know that touch might be more comfortable for some folks than others. And it's okay if for some reason, either in your family, touch wasn't a big thing, or even your culture. They make even that awareness. So there's even cultural norms, both the culture at large or the culture of a small family. And so be aware of what your personal touch values were, cultural experiences were, and or if you've got some vulnerable spots or some trauma spots based on touch. And again, bring that into the conversation to say, how can touch be a part of healing and nurturing and developmental in our relationship instead of something that causes guardedness or possibly a traumatic triggered response, and actually see healing through that. Of course, if there's intense trauma from touch, please seek a professional. Come talk to someone like myself, a therapist, who can help kind of move through some of that trauma to recalibrate a healthy expression of touch in your life and specifically in your relationship.
Yeah, they talk about that, how important it is to think through the history of what was touch, how was touch modeled when you were raised in the home you were raised in, and how was it modeled in the home your partner was raised in, because that really colors your idea of like what's appropriate, what's not. Maybe also, not maybe, it definitely directly affects your appreciation for it and your like threshold of like, yes, I want to do this in public. No, I don't. And as you pointed out, it's even cultures. If you go to Europe, like if you go to Spain or France, people are just making out everywhere, and we don't really have that as much in the U.S. And so I know that's something that is really your family of origin, and then also your culture on how comfortable you are with it. And so it's something to, talk to your partner about openly of like what your level of comfort is. And if there's a disconnect, kind of saying like, how do we bridge that gap? But I know one of the things that is really important for women is having affectionate touch that doesn't necessarily lead to sex, that isn't erotic touch. And I've told you this forever. Like first of all, this is your wheelhouse across the board. You're very good at physical touch. And I've said this to you from the beginning, that you are one of the only men I've been with who touches me without it having to be a direct, immediate next step to sex. And that as a woman just feels so lovely and makes me feel so loved and warm, outside of, it just being some physical need that you have, or that you have some end goal. And that's, literally very much to your credit, babe. Like they talk in the chapter so much about the little touches that really ramps connection and ramps, the emotional connection between you two, and also gives you a little love boost. So like, I care enough when I'm, passing you to pinch your waist or whatever. And they literally talk about this, the magic of mini touches. And you do that all the time. You do that every day, I'll be standing at the island in the kitchen and he passes me to throw something away, and we'll pinch my side, or, nicely touch the small of my back, or, grab a shoulder to just give a little, they literally call it mini touches, little squeeze touches, as you're passing someone by. And so I think that's a really nice thing to help couples delineate, because I know a lot of men do not do that and are literally like, I only touch women if I'm trying to have sex, and it feels very robotic, and or the touch then feels not as warm or loving because a woman feels it as okay, great, now I've got to do something for them. Whereas what's so lovely about the magic of the mini touches that you give me all day, every day, is that you're literally doing it gratuitously. Like you are not expecting anything in return. You're doing it as a selfless, like bid for connection, way to connect with me and make me feel loved. And I don't turn around and feel like, oh great, now I've got to do something for him.
Yeah, well, that's so sweet, love. Thank you so much. Well, one of the things too we've talked about, one, you're so open to receiving it, so you're not guarded, and that makes for a nice dynamic. But it's kind of fun because your kiddos will tease us for it, and so the kids will be like, "Gross! Oh my gosh! It's so annoying." And when we talk about family of origin, we talk about that. So how nice it is that we're modeling, for the kids, just a sense of kind touch as a part of intimate relationship. And the truth is, in both of our kind of respective first marriages, we didn't really have that. There wasn't a dynamic, a symbiotic sort of expression of connection. And sadly, I think that added to the toll of the first marriage. And so not only are we excited for each other in that, but modeling it for the kids so they can say, I saw love expressed in my childhood through the way you guys loved each other.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Seeing
what really
being
sweet.
In love looks like.
Yeah.
So another point I wanted to just straight up read from the book is, just calling out, okay, so touch is good for us. It's good for our health. It's good for our relationships. Data show that casual touch between couples, holding hands, kissing, being physically affectionate in public or really anytime, correlates with a thriving sex life. And so, even though we've been talking about kind of affectionate versus erotic, What is nice is that, it's this like building bricks or layers of a foundation of a really strong relationship, is that it's like every time you do a magic mini touch with me where you're not expecting anything in return, that builds this relational capital with me, that for whenever you are interested in taking it to erotic or moving in that direction, I'm just more open to it, because it's more, just a part of how we operate. And it doesn't feel this stark thing of like zero touch, zero of the good feeling hormones that come from it. And then immediate, like I have to go 0 to 100 to kind of not the little deposits of the mini touches to full on touch, erotic touch, expectation for sex. And so that statement, the data shows that like if you're good about doing all those other things in day to day, then your chances of having intimate, actual, sexual experience with your partner are just going to go up.
That's great. I love that. Great. Yay. Keep doing it. Win-win, guys. Absolutely win-win.
Now, the final thing that is so important, and Mark touched on it, because yes, touch is a very loaded, unfortunately, it is very loaded for a lot of people because of maybe past trauma experiences and touching experiences that were unwanted, unwarranted. And so a lot of people do carry that baggage, unfortunately, into relationships. And that's real heavy stuff that has to be talked about. And so they have a great set of questions that are important to ask each other. So this is good for anybody with or without trauma. So what kinds of touch do you most like? What do you not like? When is your favorite time to be touched or hugged? Because there is one time I don't like to be touched. When is that?
Yeah, when you're eating.
When I'm eating. I do not like to be touched when I'm eating.
She's just like a great white shark.
It's like one of my number one rules. The kids have known it forever. Mark's been on the scene 3.5 years. He had to learn one of the 2 golden rules. Don't touch me when I'm eating. So when is your favorite time to be touched or hugged? Are there times when you don't want to be touched? Eating. And then are there some places you like to be touched more than others? Which is a good one too. Because I feel like I've even messed up with you. Like just little times I've touched you and you're like, I don't really like that, And so having these really clear-cut, conversations and pointed questions of like when, how, are there things you like more than others, and just being open about it is so important.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And again, one of the things too is just talking about this, being able to talk openly. For many people is taboo. It feels like an uncomfortable conversation, or I can't really talk about it. It feels awkward. We should just naturally know, or whatever. So the more you can have a empathetic, connected conversation, naturally, the more fruit will come from it. So lean into the concern that it could be hard, but get through the hardness, or again, enlist a professional to help you walk through it, because it's very important. It's a huge part of our life, and we can experience it for the rest of our lives. It's something we can continue to grow in and experience new versions of it for our entire lifetime. So yeah, have those conversations.
Great. And maybe we'll end with this fact from studies that show that men who kiss their wives goodbye in the morning live 5 years longer than men who do not kiss their wives goodbye in the morning. That is significant. 5 years is a very long time. It's not just 1, it's not 3, like 5 is significant, that I would hope is maybe a compelling enough, fact and piece of science that would want people to motivate them to have that connection point in the morning. I mean, that's just so powerful. And I think, it's a great nudge for couples to think about being in the motion. And I think we generally try to do this, like upon greeting and departing, we always try to kiss like, hello, I'm back, or I'm leaving, and I think that's a really good thing to have as a kind of protocol in your relationship. And in this day and age, when we're all obsessed with longevity and extending our lives and extending healthy lives, I mean, here we have it, this like very black and white, plain as day fact that if you want 5 more years, you need to kiss your partner every morning before you guys, depart and go to work or, go about your day.
Right on. Yeah. Okay. Here's the 5 good years.
All right.
Thanks. See you next time.
Guys. Bye.